if I was going to do in these Trove videos what I'm busy doing off camera, I wonder I wonder then how many of you would actually be interested in the series, because right now I'm trying to grind my fish, and we should probably spend the entire episode on it. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm not going to bother doing any fishing on camera, just for the simple fact that it takes 5 years, dude! Like, seriously, I'm so far away from my fishing badge. Let's take a peek! Not happening fishing. Okay, I'm at 7,450, and I need 15,000! 15,000, that's way too brutal, man. What's up, dudes and dudes to the internet? My name's Scythe, we are back. The reason that I'm grinding it is because we finally tracked it down, folks. So the last time that we ended up actually talking about my mastery, here we go. Where am I on the list? So I'm at 62223, right? That mastery badge is gonna, or the badge of fishing, I mean, is going to end up shooting me to 62323. But if you look at the people at the top, they're at 70. 70. So that's 50 more mastery that I was actually missing for max mastery. And I was having a real hard time trying to track it down. I went through my collections menu. I saw I've got everything. What secret mount do these people have that suddenly I can't seem to get? What is keeping me from actually being max mastery so that I could have a bunch of pinatas every week? Turns out, and it might very well be impossible for me to end up actually getting max mastery in the first place, because thanks to Joe, we kind of ended up figuring it out. In the promo section, I knew that I was missing promo mounts. Okay, I knew that I was. Some of these just aren't in game yet, but the magic Trove carpet, for the life of me, I didn't even think that it gave mastery. And we finally ended up tracking down that this was in fact the one thing that I'm missing. So if I can ever get my hands on this and my fishing badge, I mean, at least I'm motivated now, you know, I'm motivated to actually grind up my fishing. If I can even end up doing it, but honestly speaking, I don't really have that much spare time, as you all know from all the stuff that I've been mentioning in the videos recently, right? So we'll see what ends up happening with that, but I'm hoping that I can put a dent on it just slowly every day, just kind of work on my fishing badge more and more and more, and then that'll finally be the last thing that I actually need, is that Trove magic carpet. Now, the problem with that magic Trove carpet is that the only way to actually attain it is to not only attend a developer live stream, of which I'm usually asleep during that time because I was up all night like recording and stuff. Yes, I'm well aware that they stream during the day, but usually I'm in bed or I'm, you know, busy with other stuff, right? I've got better things to do than catch their actual live stream, or, well, I don't want it to sound mean, but it's, you know, this is my priority, not catching their live stream. So usually I'll end up watching their live stream afterwards. Now, I'm not gonna be able to win that Trove carpet unless I actually catch them live, and even then, it's completely random because they're going to end up using, I assume that they use Nightbot just because, you know, it's the best one out there, to randomly give people stuff, right? So, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess I'll try and go for that, but really, how do I try and go for a mount that's just impossible for me to get, which is kind of disappointing. You know, I'm hoping that I can somehow get it by some other means, but I don't think there is any, in which case, rip me. But still, you know, despite that, I'm not trying to sound gloomy or anything about it. I'm actually really excited because until we ended up actually figuring out that that was what I was missing, I was sitting here scratching my head, dude. I had absolutely no idea what I was actually missing in terms of the last 50 mastery. Because if I can finally end up actually getting max mastery, and I mean max, not like the current max, that's the max mastery in the game. Because I know that lots of you watching at home usually ask whenever I refer to max mastery. So there is a maximum amount of mastery that you're allowed to get in the game. Kind of a maximum amount that's going to reward you, I guess I should say, right? But then there's going to be over that. You can still collect items that are going to give you more than the maximum amount of mastery. So you can see right here, I'm over 600 mastery. And pretty much everybody up here is. Except the way that the mastery levels are going to end up working, I think from level 300 and onward, the devs have actually said that they're trying to work out a little bit of a better system for the whole mastery thing. And ultimately, they are going to end up boosting mastery up to 500 at one point. They have confirmed that, but that's already months ago, right? But they did say that they might end up making it so that everything, you know, every mastery level above 300 might actually cost double the amount of mastery, which would make perfect sense because they've got a lot of content that they're still planning to add to the game very, very soon. That is just going to end up shooting our mastery through the roof. We got a whole bunch of new dragons that they've been, you know, I was gonna say that they've been working on, but it's modders that make them, and a lot of these dragons are years old. They just haven't been publicly added to the game, right? But in any case, you know, I'm not trying to tease or anything. I'm just saying, like, in general, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of dragons that are just sitting there waiting to get added to the game, which is gonna be a lot of mastery, not to mention whenever the Shadow Tower update comes out. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be tons and tons of those new lunar costumes, and subclasses in general might end up adding even more mastery, so who knows what's gonna happen with that. Oh! Instead of going into this meatloaf dungeon, because for some reason there's only like 5 different dungeons in the Jurassic jungle biome, which by the way, console players, there's going to be 2, technically, new biomes that are going to be added with the Megalithic update, which it looks like it's going to be near the end of the month rather than being around the 13th or the 10th or whatever it was that we were all speculating before. So, you know, can't really call it unless they end up giving us an official release date, right? But we were close. I'm just assuming that it's gonna be kind of later at the end of the month just because they haven't really talked about it in their live streams or anything like that. But I thought that this was interesting. So I didn't even talk about this or stress this enough in my latest like weekly Chaos Chest video. But this boat right here costs 200 ancient scales. Like, look at this. 2,400 a piece. So 2,400 times 200. That's roughly 500,000 flux. Not to mention 150 on top of that. Like, oh. So anyways, thankfully the devs have actually confirmed that they are going to end up changing the recipe for this. But, and here's a big one, folks, that you gotta keep in mind here. This is something that's kind of crazy, but at the same time makes sense, is they are going to change the crafting recipe for that boat. However, they're not going to do it until after the Megalithic update comes out. So that means that the Megalithic update, when it comes onto consoles, is going to have that insane crafting recipe for that boat. So it's going to end up changing. We're just gonna have to probably wait like a month or 2 before that ends up happening, which also means that console players, most likely that's going to actually be the more recent like Chaos Chest drop. Actually, maybe not, because Chaos Chest drops are not patch related. The reason for this is because the way that the whole Megalithic update is going to end up working is they're taking a certain version The version that we're rocking on the PC right now, we've actually barely seen any patches. Normally we would get patches once a week, then they dumbed that down to twice, every 2 weeks, I mean, not twice a week. And now it pretty much seems to be once a month to coincide with the console updates, right? But we actually haven't had an update on the PC for months. And the reason for that, because I know a lot of people actually get quite frustrated about it, and especially that there hasn't really been that much explanation to it, but the reason for that is they are trying to get the version that we're rocking on PC to the consoles as soon as possible. And any update that they end up adding to the PC version of Trove is going to just elongate the delay between the Megalithic update actually coming on consoles, because they're supposed to be syncing up the patches for every month. And then in general, they want a patch every month on, you know, the PC as well, just to kind of coincide with the console patches. Now, that said, I'm fully expecting, maybe, you know, if they're a good company, just because this is what most good companies do, they'll end up having like a big update and stuff like that. Maybe those will come out a week early on PC, so that we can kind of beta test it in case there's any game-breaking bugs and stuff like that, and then the update might come to consoles, so there might be a little bit of a delay between all of that stuff. I'm actually hoping that there is, not because I want the PC update to be, you know, the PC to be further along than the console, but they're like, for those of you that are new to Trove, take it from me, and a lot of others, we've been playing this game for years, right? There will be game-breaking bugs that get added to the game. And if that would get added to the console version of Trove, and hashtag confirmed, by the way, the big reason that the console version of Trove, I had the game crash and a whole bunch of stuff just happened there, sorry about that. But the console version of Trove updates once per month because of licensing agreements with, I'm mostly leaning towards Microsoft. I would assume that Sony has something like this as well. But with Microsoft more specifically on Xbox One, a company can only upload one patch per month. Otherwise, they're going to end up being charged a very hefty sum in order to actually rush out a second patch within the same month, right? This is mostly just to do with the Xbox servers trying to have all these games and stuff like that, right? It makes sense, it's understandable, but when we get a game like Trove, and that I think is why the Megalithic update is taking a lot longer than the devs actually expected, was because with this update, they're trying to actually get it right. Rather than what usually would happen on PC is a patch would come out, the game would be completely unplayable for a week or two until they ended up actually hotfixing the issue, usually within the first week, sometimes the second week. Very, very rarely would it actually exceed over a month before an update would end up being fixed. So with the console version, they're not allowed to actually do that. So that's why I'm hoping that they can end up, you know, giving the PC players an early version of the game, or early version of a new patch, just so that we can bug test it, so that console players aren't going to have to deal with the game being unplayable for a month, because I honestly wouldn't expect them to shell out the, like, Tryon World to spend the insane amount of money that I hear it costs to actually put out another patch within the same month on the console version, right? Now, prime example, remember earlier in the day of the console version, not only did we end up having tradable Lunar and Titan Souls and stuff like that, you know, that took a long time before they were able to actually fix that and patch that. But then on top of that, there was also the exploit to the emblems and being able to equip all of the emblems free of charge and not actually having them unlocked, right? So remember how long that ended up taking to end up getting updated? And that's kind of the thing. That's just kind of how Trove is working in regards to the console version, which has been a pretty interesting ride to actually learn all of that stuff, you know? Like, it's been pretty cool. So besides all of that, just in closing here, folks, because I do want to give you a quick update, that I'm trying to work on fixing up my Discord channel a little bit before I end up, like, for a while, you know, I've already had a Discord channel for months. I still frequent it as regularly as I can, but for the most part, you know, things were getting pretty crazy at one point where I just had to stop going in there because I guess I get too addicted to people. And it was actually really starting to impede my work, not to mention people constantly asking me questions, and I like to be there for people. So I kind of pulled away from that, pulled away from the Discord community, and now I feel that it's gotten a lot better myself personally, where I've learned kind of how to manage that and kind of respond to fans in moderation, you know, because my fans are very important to me, but I gotta work on actually getting videos out, right? So anyways, the whole point that I'm trying to get to is that I am going to kind of be changing a couple things in the Discord channel. I'm trying to work on changing a couple things, maybe adding a couple of different bots to the channel to manage these new features. And then I'm going to start actually putting it in the video description and probably set myself to auto sign into it so that I can end up being in there every day and responding to fans when I can, you know, because it still is an absolutely awesome community. And I don't really want to pull away from that and pull away from that level of fan interaction that we've already established up to this point. Earlier videos have the link to the Discord in the description, but yeah, in any case, I just wanted to let you all know about that. Otherwise, still trying to work out all this stuff with the merch store. Nothing's really changed with that. Still trying to work out some stuff with the VR headset, and also, just as a side note, I guess, trying to figure out how to do some Minecraft VR. I know that, you know, I know what you're thinking because we all play Trove. We like the action over the slowness that is Minecraft, but who doesn't like Minecraft? It's a good game. VR Minecraft is really, really weird, though, and very slow-paced, but I thought it would be pretty interesting, and this might be months down the line, to actually have kind of like a challenge series in where I'm challenging myself to do, like, really impressive feats in Minecraft with the VR headset, like fighting the Ender Dragon with VR or something, which I fully expect is gonna be absolutely impossible. I only wish that Trove had as big a community and was working on a better game engine that people could actually make such insane mods as they have with Minecraft, because that's the whole thing. Minecraft VR is not like a supported thing. It's modded, dude. And honestly speaking, I hope that someday some psychopath could figure out how to make Trove VR, because that would just be like, wow. But in any case, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Not going to be giving anything away today because, of course, last episode we ended up giving away the beautiful Alburn. Next PC episode, we are going to be giving something crazy away, and I do want to say that for episode 500, even though I thought it was going to be earlier, seems that it's going to be episode 500 just because I got a lot on my plate right now. We're going to be doing the world tour of the Club World. But in any case, thanks for watching, everybody. Very much appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe for more daily content. Sayonara, and stay epic, everybody.